Hi, my name is Sam Johnson and I am a voice teacher. Today I will be reacting to and analyzing The Weeknd performing Scared to Live.
When I saw the signs, I should have let you go, but I kept you beside me. And if I held you back, at least I held you close. Should have known you were lonely. I know things will never be the same. Time we lost will never be replaced. I'm the reason you forgot.
I love The Weeknd. I think Abel is a fantastic singer. I've always thought the kind of closest comp to him is Michael Jackson, in that he's able to get these sounds that, I don't know, it doesn't sound like falsetto to me, but it sounds like it's as easy as falsetto, and he's up in this area. I think he's just mixing really well. I honestly think that Abel just mixes really well, and that's why he's able to get all of these colors without it, because he can sing louder, but when he was singing this stuff so far, like, it's all up at the G and the A. It's high enough that he's gonna feel it in his head. Like, even if it is connected, which I think it is, he's gonna feel it in his head. But when he starts coming back down, like, it's maintaining that quality, which makes me think that he's just registering really well, that he's able to move between head voice and chest voice and have it sound fairly similar. He's just got such an interesting voice. I love The Weeknd. I think that he is amazing. The Trilogy album is like my favorite thing of all time. It's legitimately like one of my favorite collections of music that exists, and I haven't listened to as much of his other projects, but this guy just has an unbelievable voice, and I'm about it.
So don't be scared to live again. Be scared to live again.
I do like that he's not going, be scared. It wouldn't help him continue with the sounds that he's able to make. He's kind of narrowing it. It's more of a closed E, like scared versus scared. Be scared versus be scared.
No, don't. Be scared to live again.
Scared.
Be scared to live again.
Yeah, it's a narrowed vowel. He's modifying the vowel.
It's the chance to fall for someone else.
I've never noticed how, like, kind of jerky he is while he's singing. Like, he's moving his head a lot. It almost looks like he has a tremor on his head, but I don't think that that's the case. In any case, it looks like it's pretty loose. Like, I actually am okay with moving your head a little bit, especially in training. I think it's a really good thing to be able to vocalize while you're kind of drawing your head in a circle or just moving your head. Because when you start moving your head in a way that is on purpose, it gives these bigger muscles a job so that they don't feel like they need to be involved in creating the sound. I don't know if he's doing this, like, if he's choosing, he wants to put this in every place, or why it's happening. But it's an interesting look for sure. And this whole thing is so theatrical. It could just be part of that. I'm not sure if he's done it on a lot of his other live performances, because I've honestly never really seen live videos of him.
'Cause your heart only knows me. They try to win your love, there was nothing left. They just made you feel lonely.
This production is really cool.
Well, I am not the man I used to be. Did some things I couldn't let you see. Refused to be the one who tamed your heart. So don't.
People are gonna ask what I think about his vibrato, probably. He sings in such a balanced way that is so repeatable and feels authentic to him. I'm fine with his vibrato. It sounds like a really cool pop vibrato, and I think that it's interesting. I mean, it's not the normal vibrato that you hear when someone's voice is in a really balanced place. It could be argued that there's a bit of like a tremolo type thing or just not being right, but like it works. And the same thing I think kind of happened with Michael, where we heard a little bit of that faster vibrato, and I think that you are a dumb person if you think that Michael Jackson can't sing. And so just stylistically, I think it's pretty much the same, and I think it does work for pop music really well. If he was taking that over to musical theater, it wouldn't work. If he was taking it over to classical music, it wouldn't work, just because stylistically it wouldn't fit the aesthetics of either of those genres. But I think that for the kind of music that he's doing, it actually works really well. A lot of people who sing pop music and R&B, well, R&B less, but like they're kind of afraid of vibrato, especially... They think that it'll make them sound too classical, and it's just not the case. You hear most really well-trained voices, people who have nice balanced sounds, they'll use vibrato. They might not use it all the time, but they'll use vibrato. And so I think that it's fine. I think that what he's doing is obviously fine, and I would be dumb for saying it's not fine. Maybe I'm dumb, though. Yeah, I'm pretty sure he's not just singing in falsetto. If he was, we fell apart, see if it kind of falls apart. It falls apart at the end of it if you stay in falsetto through that whole thing. It's obviously got some vocal cord connection. It's not heavy. It's not a heavy sound at all. It doesn't sound like there's very much pressure at all building up to create this sound. It sounds very flowy, but the vocal folds have more of the body of them coming together than I think if you were just doing falsetto where just the ligament was coming together. And because of that, he's able to get some volume changes, so it doesn't sound like he's locked into just a really quiet volume, where, again, if you were singing in falsetto, there's not very much volume that you can do with that. Like, the dynamic range that you have when you're locked in falsetto is very, very small. So it's a very useful sound, and I think it's super popular. I don't think that he's doing it. I just don't think he's doing it. I think he's just got a, like, pretty high voice, and so it naturally works up in that area and gives him a lot more control than someone with a heavier voice might have. But, yeah, he's connected.
I should have made you my only when it's said and done. Whoa. Scared to live again, babe. Scared to live again.
And he's not singing anything that's super, super high. I mean, so far I think I've only heard him sing up to the A, which is a doable sound, and it's trainable for most low voices. But the sound that he gets up there, that's just like his voice type a little bit. That's kind of biological. He's got a lighter voice, and I think that he's capable of getting heavier with it. Like when we just heard him open up on that last phrase, that's about as heavy as I think I'd ever want to hear him go. And that's not going to be super quiet, but it sounds like it's on the same spectrum as when he's doing the softer sounds before, where it's like, okay, it's a little less breathy sounding, but he doesn't sing super breathy to begin with. He just sings with air moving through, but it's not like super breathy sound all the time. But yeah, he just leaned into that a little bit more. Any of the breathiness that he does have as a stylistic thing went away, became a really, really clear sound. The vowel opened up a little bit more, da versus da. Like sometimes when he's singing the softer stuff, he doesn't need to open his mouth very much. And that shows that like this area for him is very easy, and he doesn't need to kind of correct to make things happen. I mean, his vowels are fairly narrow, which means that they're not like spreading into this place very much. Like on the scared, he's not going, I'm scared, he's scared. That's what I mean by narrowing the vowel, is if we took the word scared and turned it into scared or scared, or if we took the word love and turned it into love when you're singing it, just modifying it a little bit how you pronounce that word actually makes it sound more correct for the audience. And when you're singing in these harder areas, areas where you might have a bridge, that's where narrowing the vowel can be a really useful tool sometimes. Sometimes it's already too narrow, and so you would need to open it up, or sometimes it's narrow but it's too closed, like the space between your teeth is a little bit too small, and so you need to open up that space by dropping your jaw a little bit. But with him, it doesn't seem like he's carrying tension in his jaw. I think that that's helping him with everything. He's great. He's great. He's great, but he's also just like a tenor, an actual tenor, and he's got a lighter voice, and that's awesome. And that's where knowing what your vocal type is, I guess, is kind of useful, because it makes you, if you know what your vocal type is and what you're really good at, then you'll probably end up sticking to what you're really good at when you're singing most of the time, and not trying to become something that you're not. And I think that while over the course of Abel's career, he has changed the style of music he's singing a little bit. He's become very much like a true pop star, but I don't think he's changed how he's used his voice very much throughout that career. Like, some depth has come just from him getting older, because when he was recording Trilogy, he was much younger. I mean, what was that, 10 years ago? And just in your 20s, your voice changes like crazy, but it hasn't sounded like he's tried to change himself more than just what his body naturally has done as he's developed. And so I really think that he's awesome, obviously. See, like that sound, it's not super breathy. It's not like star, where he's using all of his air at the same, or in that one word. Gosh, words are hard. They really are. He sounds like it's a consistent amount of air and a consistent amount of resistance, but it's not like dumping air. It's just to kind of make it a little bit more emotional sounding. And we got this really lovely dynamic contrast between the big belty stuff a second ago, but it's belty in that it's loud and it's intense. It's not belty in that it's forceful. And then he just kind of backed off. It's like the air and the muscle components, they grew as they needed to maintain the pressure and to get that louder sound, and then it just came back down. But they're connected. It's all on the same thing. It's not like he's using a totally different technique to sing the loud stuff as he's doing to sing the quiet stuff. There are elements that are in common between every sound that he creates when he's singing. And if you can focus on whatever those elements are, whatever's remaining the same, whatever feels like it's remaining the same, and whatever is actually remaining the same, like his airflow is remaining the same. It's a consistent amount of air. His resistance is remaining about the same. And so the proportions between those two, the relationship between them is remaining about the same. And even though he might add a little bit more resistance to get to a louder sound, he's also increasing the airflow a little bit, so it feels the same. It's weird. Sometimes there are these kinesthetic realities that are happening that don't actually represent how things feel, and that's why I don't think it's useful to really focus on all of those small things. And it's a lot more useful to focus on your perception, and your perception remaining the same. So even though we know that chest voice doesn't happen in your chest, you feel it in your chest. That's a perception that's going to remain the same for you. And so if you can focus on that every time that you come back down to chest voice, if you're someone who kind of gets stuck in your head voice, focusing on letting that perception happen, letting it drop down into your chest, that will start giving you more consistent results. With Abel, whatever he's focusing on, whatever sensation is remaining the same, there's gotta be something that's remaining the same. And it would be so interesting to hear what he does notice with it, or if he is kind of aware of that somatic feeling, like whatever is happening in his body, or if he's just completely going by instinct at this point, because he's good enough that like he could probably completely turn off any focus of that. And that's like trusting the technique that the technique will work, and all he has to do is think about whatever he's trying to communicate. Yeah, that's the video. We're gonna be done now. Thank you for watching. Please like, subscribe, leave a comment below, share this video with your friends, and let me know what you think. Do you think that he's singing in falsetto? Do you think that he's singing in head voice? Is it mix? What do you think he's singing in? And what's the point of knowing what register he's singing in? Thank you.